Now that the final player has been released to the game, I'm finally in a position to judge the Mythic update, the one that came around 9 months ago now. The Mythic update has been one of the biggest and only, to be honest, updates that the game has had in quite a few years. So now I think it is time to finally see whether this update has been good or bad. Now, here are the patch notes, and I'm just going to go over them one by one as the video goes on, and at the end I will actually pass my judgment and see whether this update has been a positive or a negative to score match. Apart from the super players, the first thing we'll talk about is the new Arena 11. Well, there's not much to say about this, if not that it's a fine addition to the game, in my opinion. We needed a stepping stone from Arena 10 to Infinity Arena, since the skill gap was pretty big back before the update. Now with this Arena 11, or Mythic Arena as it's called, players have an extra arena to get used to volleyballing before dealing with it on a daily basis in the Infinity Arena. The rewards are practically the same as the Infinity Arena, which is a pity. I still think that the Infinity Arena should have better rewards, seeing as it's the toughest and most competitive arena in the game. I'm not talking about millions of bucks or anything like that as a reward, but something better, say like 5,000 bucks per win or something like that. Before the update, there was little reason for veterans or experienced players to play the game. Many people had full teams of level 10 players and there was just nothing to grind for anymore. With the level 11 upgrade came a reason to keep playing for most people. It gave old players a reason to come back to the game and work on their players again. I've read quite a few critiques about this, especially on Reddit and on the Play Store, but I actually like this. Yes, there is a bit of a gap between level 10 and level 11 players, but it's not something that some of your skill can't make up for. After all, upgrading a player from 10 to 11 requires a good 10,000 cards, which I think is fair, as well as 800,000 bucks. This I have a problem with. Bucks is way too hard to get right now, and I understand that FTG designed it this way, so that people would have to buy bucks for real money. But this is a bit of an overkill, to be honest. 600,000 bucks would be better, but even better would be some way to win more bucks, be it through events or maybe even some kind of daily challenges or something like that. As it stands, upgrading your players will take years on end, which is a bit silly if you think about the fact that this is just a mobile game that most people play for fun here and there. This update brought us 5 new super players: Cook, Benitez, Traore, Simon and Lee. I'm going to go on a limb here and say that Simon is the only solid player of the 5, but you could argue that Cook is also somewhat okay. I kind of like Benitez and Traore in principle, although I don't own him yet, but I'm really not a fan of this batch of super players, except for Simon of course. Players with either 10 response or 10 speed are barely usable, at least in the Infinity Arena. Sure, you can have a good run of games with Traore and maybe Cook if the software is on your side, but in the long run, man, these players aren't really solid enough to feature consistently in your team. Some people are saying that Lee is good, but many are complaining about his response. I don't have him either, and I hope that I don't unlock him anytime soon, because I need all the cards I can get for important players like Martin and Infiltrate. I mean Hammers, Commanders and Prowlers, my bad. In all seriousness, I'm not impressed with these super players. We could have done without them, to be honest. Like, what new events? I'm not even joking. What new events are we even talking about here? The patch note said that we'd have an endurance event and win streak events. I'm guessing that the endurance event was that weird celebration plate event that took me an hour and a half to complete. It required 20 wins for the grand old prize of 40 cards and Sabre. If that's the endurance event, they can very well keep it for themselves, to be honest. Win streak events remain a mystery. And no, cup events aren't new events. They were actually in the game a few years back and they slowly disappeared. I'm happy that they returned, don't get me wrong, but are we going to talk about high roller leagues? Are we going to talk about how they just up and disappeared completely. Again, this is no mistake, guys. FTG removed high roller leagues because people were maxing their players way too quickly, which I agree. Okay, like 20,000 cards is insane as a reward, but couldn't we have high roller leagues that offer like 5,000 cards instead? We still need bucks anyway, and high roller leagues used to steal millions of bucks from us back in the day. Anyway, apart from this, I'm really curious as to what happened to these so-called new events. I'll ask FTG about it someday. FTG brought us a few new packages with this update, ones that can be bought for a varying number of gems. These packages are okay. They're good if you want to focus on upgrading certain players, but the price is a bit too high in my opinion. Nevertheless, they're okay to have. I've brought some of them back when I was upgrading Simon, and the rewards were fine. Nothing special. I mean, many cards went to useless players still, but at least the cards I got were focused on a select few players, which is an okay kind of package to have in the game. Smoother than ever with new animations and cutscenes. Well, the cutscenes are okay. I don't like that the new cutscenes take me longer to get the match going, but they're okay. The game did feel a bit smoother when I first started playing Score Match after this update, so I guess FTG did work on the game's mechanics. Overall, I don't really see much difference though. As for the bugs, yeah, this is a problem, guys. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, there are still quite a few bugs that have been here for years, and they're really not hard to fix, man. The corner kick bug, where your opponent's player clearly touches the ball but you don't get a corner, yeah, that's still here. There are some other weird collisions in the game where players fall to the ground 10 minutes after they've been tackled. Some players simply don't react to the ball even if they have 50 response. Yeah, there's a lot of work to be done, and honestly I was a bit surprised that these bugs remained in the game after an update that actually said in its patch logs that bug fixes were going to happen. I mean, I'm not sure if I'm kind of forgetting about any bugs that used to be in Score Match prior to the update and now they're not. Maybe that's the case, but I mean, these kinds of things should have been fixed, especially in a so-called big update like the Mythic update. In general, I'm going to say that this update gave us, people who have been playing for years, a new reason to play thanks to the level 11 upgrade. I mean, that's the biggest kind of change that the game has seen. The other stuff that I mentioned and that were mentioned in the patch notes were kind of small additions around the one major thing that is that level 11 upgrade. The smoothness of the game helps, but that's as far as the good things go when it comes to this Mythic update. FTG not only didn't add the new events they promised, but they actually removed one, the High Roller League. I've discussed the disappearance of the High Roller League before, and I mean, it's something that I think won't change. I think it's the High Roller Leagues are they're gone completely for good now. And I've also mentioned why. Even in this video I've said that like 20,000 cards is a bit of an overkill, but not all high roller leagues used to offer 20,000 cards. There used to be the smaller high roller leagues that offered like 8 to 10,000 cards, and I think that is an okay event to have, you know, once a month at least. Back to the update, volleyball is still completely broken, which is something that, I mean, we've talked about for a long time. Many people have been talking about it for a long time as well. FTG seems to not mind, they don't care. They obviously don't play the game, at least not as much as we do. So volleyball is still here after the update. Some bugs are gonna have their 7th birthday soon, and we still don't have a solid way to make bucks. To make matters worse, the events are giving us less and less bugs as time goes on, if you do believe it. Again, I've released a video a while back which kind of compares the events nowadays with the events that, you know, Score Match used to have many years back, and the difference is pretty staggering. I used to get 100,000 bucks after a league event win, whereas now I'm lucky if I get 15,000 bucks. Now, this is a bit of an obvious way to force people to spend money on the game. So, I mean, it is a mobile game with quite a few microtransactions going on, so whatever. Overall, I'd give this update a 6.5 on 10. Not terrible, but not that the game needed it either. And to be honest, I think that there were some very obvious issues, and there are still obvious issues with the game that have been completely ignored, unfortunately, with the Mythic update that I really think should have been given a look at. If through this update FTG managed to fix a few more bugs and maybe kind of limit the volleyballing going on, I'd give this update a good 8.5 or 8 at least from 10, as it is, with just, you know, the level 11 upgrade and the 5 new super players, which we didn't honestly really need, if we're being kind of honest now. This update is just going to get a 6.5 out of 10 from me. I'll eventually make a video about what I'd change in score match, so stay tuned for that by liking, subscribing and becoming a member with just a small contribution. So thanks very much guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.